Welcome, college football fans, to another week of the College Football Preview. I'm your host, Troy Blusky. Along with me is our senior college football analyst and guru, Drew Blusky. Drew, we have 4 great games on tap this week. We have 2 Big Ten games. We got an SEC game and we've got an ACC game. Let's start off with the big one in the SEC, where number 2 Alabama hosts number 4 Georgia Bulldogs. Who do you like in this game, Drew?
Bama with the dual threat quarterback in Jalen Milroe. I think he'll be huge for them. Georgia has good offense, but I'm going to go with Alabama.
Yeah, I think, Georgia's defense can match up with just about anybody in the country. I think a difference maker here will be Jalen Milroe. He is showing he's the most athletic quarterback out there right now, probably the front runner for the Heisman. His dual threat action is going to keep Georgia at bay. I'm going with Bama at home and Jalen Milroe in this one. I did look in the most recent matchups between these two teams. 10 recent matchups. Alabama's won 8. They are 8-2 against Georgia. I think that trend continues. We're going with Bama. Let's move on to the Big Ten game in Pennsylvania. Penn State Nittany Lions host Brett Bielema's Illinois Illini. The Fighting Illini are going to Happy Valley. Who do you like this one?
I think Penn State has a good offense, and their home crowd will be huge for them. Illinois has put together a good team, but I'm going to go with the Fighting Illini. The Nittany Lions.
You're going with the Nittany Lions. Yeah, Penn State, there's only 2 teams in the country right now averaging 250 passing yards and 250 rushing yards per game. That is Penn State and the Tennessee Volunteers. That is great balance. That is very difficult to defend. I think Brett Bielema has done a great job at Illinois. He has made them very competitive as they are 4-0 to start this year. 4-0 for the first time since 2011 for the Illini. Their quarterback, Luke Altmaier, is very much so underrated. He has done a great job at quarterback there. He can make the necessary passes. He's got enough quickness in his feet to extend plays with the run. He can keep Illinois in it, but I don't think it's going to be enough to stop the Nittany Lions. I will go with Penn State as well. Let's skip on down. We'll go over to South Bend, Indiana. Notre Dame hosts Louisville. Notre Dame is 16th in the country. Louisville is 15th in the country. This is a big, big game. Who do you like?
Louisville having a good offense. 3-0. Notre Dame losing to Northern Illinois. I think I'm going to have to go with Louisville. You can't lose to Northern Illinois at home and then win versus Louisville.
Yeah, I think it's a big game for Notre Dame coach Marcus Freeman. He's got a lot of pressure on him, losing a home game a couple weeks ago to Northern Illinois. Now he hosts a very talented Louisville team, a very well-coached Louisville team. Jeff Brom has really reignited that program with his offense. His offensive scheme's very difficult to contend with. He did a great job at Purdue, lifted Purdue's program up. They became relevant in the Big Ten, and just look at where Purdue is now once he has left. So he's a great coach. I think he's going to be too much for Marcus Freeman and Notre Dame to handle. I'm going with Louisville in this one as well. And then we'll go to our final matchup of the week out west in Los Angeles. USC takes on the Wisconsin Badgers in a Big Ten battle. Who do you like, Drew?
Wisconsin needs to do a pass rush. USC with a great quarterback Miller Moss and a lot of talent in the receiver corps. Michigan beat them with only 30 passing yards. Wisconsin can just run the ball. But I'm still going to go with USC. I think they'll just be a little too much for Wisconsin to handle.
Yeah, that was one of the most amazing stats of last week's game. Michigan wins with 35 passing yards. They basically just played power football against USC, controlled the game, kept USC off the field. USC made a late run in the game. Miller Moss got going, but it wasn't enough. The other thing Michigan was able to do is they had, I believe, 5 sacks in that game. That's what it's going to take. You got to get a pass rush on USC to slow down their offense. Wisconsin hasn't shown any semblance of a pass rush, but offensively, Wisconsin, I think, has a chance if they can play ball control get some passing out of Braden Locke. Wisconsin's coming off a bye, so they've had an extra week of practice. Braden Locke doesn't have to be a superhero in this game. If he can just be consistent, throw for 160, 170 yards, that would be great. And keep USC off the field. I think Wisconsin's got a shot here. I am going with the Badgers. I think that extra week of practice is a difference maker. I actually think USC might have a little bit of a letdown, believe it or not. A lot of times the fans at USC don't show up. They show up late. If Wisconsin can control the game early, they can keep them out of the game. We're going with Badgers 20, USC 17. So as a recap, Drew, Georgia, Bama, who do you got?
Bama.
Illinois, Penn State.
Penn State.
Louisville, Notre Dame.
Louisville.
And Wisconsin, USC.
USC.
And that's where we disagree. I'm going with the Badgers. Mark it down. Luke Fickell finally gets a big win at Wisconsin. That's all for this week's show. Please join us next week on another edition of the College Football Preview.